Greetings, my friends. Hope everybody's having a great weekend so far. What we're going to be talking about today is some of the stories that you guys have sent me in emails recently. And I know I'm terrible with getting back to this stuff. I get so many emails, and there's so much for me to do during the week. It's just sometimes it gets away from me. But what I'm starting to do right now is going to be I'm going to do my best to read what you sent me rather than write it all out and make a production out of it quite as much. For right now, what I'm going to do is read the email and discuss it with you guys. So it's going to be a little bit different of an experience, but if you're here just to hang out and listen to me talk and tell stories, then I think this will do just fine. Gotta situate this so that I can see my screen over here. I got two screens going. Audio's good. All right, my friends. Story mode. Engage. Dear Mr. X, so it was after school one day in May. Had to be at least 85 degrees out. My kid brother Daniel suggested we go to the local corner store to get some poppin' snacks. It was too hot to argue, so we made our way to the store. Our elementary school was 5 blocks away from the store, and I honestly didn't think I was going to make it in that heat. But somehow we did. But just before we could walk through the door, we both heard an inhuman voice say, "Hey, come here a minute." We stopped in our tracks. Daniel looked at me with pure fear in his eyes. Did you hear that?" He stammered, trembling at this point. I swallowed my heart, which felt like it was in my throat, and nodded. I did hear it. The voice spoke again. "Don't be frightened, my children. I am not here to harm you. Yet." The voice growled. I slowly turned around to see a tall, lanky, humanoid creature standing about 10 feet away from us and leaning on a tree. I knew right away it wasn't human. Its pale skin was overstretched and falling off in some places like it didn't fit its body. And those eyes. I still shudder remembering those hellish, fiery red eyes. When it noticed that I was looking at it, it looked up at us. It looked over at my brother Daniel and then back at me. Its mouth slowly curled into the creepiest grin I've ever seen. Now, a human has about 34 teeth, but this thing had at least 50 or 60 razor-sharp ones. The smile went from one side of its face to the other. A mouth isn't supposed to be that wide. What the hell were we looking at? After seeing that, me and Daniel booked it inside the store, where we waited about 30 minutes before buying our stuff and leaving. I never saw that thing again. And I really hope and pray that I never do. Thanks for listening, Mr. X. Yours truly, Jay. All right. So, that was story number 1. If you couldn't tell, my man Jay who's in the chat right now, sent me this email a while back. And it's a short one. Nice, short and sweet story, in my opinion. But let me know if you guys can think of any creatures in the menagerie of cryptids that might fit the description of what Jay was describing. And Jay, if you're still in the chat, feel free to add any details or give us any more information that you might recall. Like what was the texture and color of the skin on this creature? Did it look dry or wet? Did it look veiny or anything like that? Did you feel any specific way while looking at it? Did it feel like there was some kind of influence that this creature had on you or the environment that might be unnatural? Very interested to know about that. But being with your younger brother and encountering something bizarre and scary even is something that I'm quite familiar with, as you guys well know. I've been telling that story of the white-eyed children that my brother ran into and that me and my friends searched for back in the days when I lived in South Florida and on the block with all the other kids. And so the fact that Jay was with his younger brother on a hot summer day, kind of gives me some nostalgia a little bit. Skinwalker or the Rake, yeah, those are definitely two contenders in this situation. And okay, Jonkin says, well, first of all, Logan says sounds like Smiling Man with the grin and everything. Jonkin says Slender Man is a tulpa now. The Rake seems more animalistic, so maybe a demon. Yeah, I have heard of the Rake speaking to people, but just appearing in an alleyway or next to a tree in the middle of the day is not really something I associate with the Rake. Jay says it was a leathery, whitish gray color, had hair on its arms and chest, and its ribs were poking out like it had never eaten a day in its life, and was at least 7 feet tall. That's not comfortable. I don't like that you saw that, or that you've heard that. That you experienced that, rather. Does sound like some kind of skinwalker type creature. Even like kind of, if it wasn't for the speaking, it sounds almost like a Wendigo type thing. Let's see here. Never hear of a Rake speaking. Anything's possible in this crazy world. Yes, that is true. I'm not really one to say what is and what is not possible. But yeah. All right, let's see. Plenty of weird stuff in New Mexico, huh? Karl Marx. Let me know if you have any stories yourself. Send me an email, and we will talk about that for sure. So, somebody's asking for a Dogman story. I don't think I have any Dogman stories in the queue for tonight right now. I do have a very disturbing South American Bigfoot story that was shared with me recently, and it's something I've never heard of. It's called El Salvaje. It's kind of like a giant ape-like thing that's kind of considered a South American Bigfoot. And we've got that, and I've also got a pretty interesting story about someone seeing lights in the sky that appear to be some type of spacecraft. So let's see here. I think to stay in keeping with the, and this is probably going to turn into a pretty significant conversation, to stay in keeping with the cryptid type stories, I'm going to go with the South American Bigfoot encounter, El Salvaje. We'll start that story up in just a minute. Let's see. Eric, with the coolest spelling of the name Eric I've ever seen in my life. E-R-Y-K. That's really cool. I dig it. Tell us about your fascination with paranormal stories and how it started. I will get into that right after this story because I've been putzing around with this for quite a few minutes. All right, so let's prepare to do what Alf says, which is let's hear the story already. I agree, Alf. We're going to do that. Ghost Uchiha, greetings, my friend. And here we go. Rebecca, I love you too, my friend. Story mode, activate. El Salvaje. It means the wild one. This is how the people of Ecuador name this creature in the province of Manabí. It's in the northern region. To the south, in the area of Milagro, which means miracle, local people call it El Malo, which means the evil one. It's the South American Bigfoot, a close relative, not as big as the Sasquatch, but big enough to kill a man and eat him to the bone. This entity, on the contrary to the North American Bigfoot, doesn't care if it's seen by humans. It will chase the person, track it, and attack it immediately. It has no shame whatsoever. Males and females are very dangerous and also have shown cannibalistic tendencies. They're still spotted, especially in the mountains of Manabí, and where forests are still deep and virgin, jungle areas. The game animals we have here are deer and small boar. It seems to be a part of their diet to feed on those game animals as well. We also have other predators like black panthers, leopards, cougars, small tigers, and lately, even lions, brought by the cartel drug lords as a symbol of power. The last thing you expect while trekking through the woods is to bump into a lioness that has escaped from one of their huge farms. It's become very dangerous. The story of El Salvaje. In the late 1940s to 1950s, it was commonly known in these provinces that were surrounded by forests and mountains that this entity liked to kill and eat men. It also robbed women from their cottages, raped them continuously, and eventually ate them. Women used to go to wash the clothes in the rivers in groups, never alone. The reckless ones who dared to go alone were never seen again. Even when women were putting clothes on lines, they did it in groups. Otherwise, they were liable to be kidnapped as well. Make no mistake, this was not a human cowboy or anything like that just looking for women. It was something else, something darker, sinister and evil, because the bodies were found eaten some days later in the forest. People used to follow the vultures going around in circles in the sky in order to find the bodies that were left half-eaten. Remember, back then there was no technology at hand to ask for help or call the police. You only had your shotgun, if anything, or maybe your machete at hand. If not, you were completely vulnerable. There was no magic spell to be used against this entity, just your gun. These things were quick, silent, and violent. So this real event happened back in 1979 to someone I know personally. We're going to call this lady Samantha, just to protect her real identity. Samantha was 14 years old at the time. She was on holiday with her family in the highlands of Ecuador. They decided to visit an old castle in the province of Pichincha in Ecuador. The castle was far away from civilization, only woods, small hills, and tunnels in the area. Back in 1979, the amount of tourists there were very little. So practically when they arrived at the castle, each family member went on their own to explore the area. Samantha was wandering around outside of the castle next to her cousin. He was 16 years old at the time. Both decided to explore a bit on the forest line. Samantha separated from her cousin for a few minutes and was left alone. Her cousin was busy looking at something else that was a bit far away from her. They were the only two people in the area. All of a sudden, appearing from nowhere, a gigantic creature that looked like a monkey attacked her. She said it was about her height, and the creature was black with big eyes, huge hands, and was walking completely bipedal. Monkeys go on all fours here and are small in size, and there are no gorillas or big apes in the country. The creature jumped on her and ripped off her blouse. She said that all the buttons were flying through the air. She also said that this happened so fast that her brain could not process what was happening. She was very scared, and she knew this creature was harassing her. The creature pushed her to the floor and ripped off her bra, and started to touch her. Samantha, in a moment of panic, was able to scream out loud. Her cousin heard her scream and came to her rescue. He kicked the side of the creature with all his strength. It was actually sitting on top of her while it was touching her. After it was kicked, it gave a furious roar and disappeared underground. Apparently there were many holes and tunnels all over the area, and it escaped through one of those. You see, South America is filled with natural underground tunnels, and can go underground from one side of the continent to the other. Samantha was left in shock. Her cousin helped her to stand up and she covered herself as best she could. They went looking for her parents and explained to them what had just happened. They immediately got in the car and left the area. Hermano, this is one of the many stories I know about this entity. The person in the story is a friend of mine, and I changed her name and didn't tell the exact location, just to keep the weirdos from going there and having an accident. You know, we could fill an entire stadium with stupid people. Let me know if you liked the story. I would love to share all my stories I know with you. Un fuerte abrazo, hermano. Brian. Wow. Yeah. I'm liking, you know what I'm liking right now? I'm liking all the love that's going towards Rebecca, someone that we know is in pain and is dealing with a lot of medical stuff. That's why I love my dreamers, because you guys rally around each other like no group I've ever seen. So dope. Very nice to see that. And if you've been around long enough, you know that I'm all about being good people, doing the best you can out there, being a good example. And like I said in the last stream, if you're going to wear a mr.xdreams shirt, you might as well be wearing a Superman shirt or something, or Batman or Batgirl or Supergirl shirt, because I consider this a reminder to treat people the way you want to be treated, and to be compassionate and show love and de-escalate bad situations and help people. And if you're not going to behave that way when you're out in public wearing my shirt, then I suggest you remove it and give it to someone who will. And I say that not as any kind of disrespect, but as a challenge to do the best you can in life. And that's the type of person I want wearing my shirt. And it's not just about selling merch. It's about doing your best and being your best. So, yeah, this story, this poor young woman was very close to being a victim of this humanoid, ape-like creature that is it's a real thing. I have a picture of it right here that I'm going to show you guys in a second. And it appears to be a totally real, totally legit thing, and not interdimensional camera dodging creature. It's very, very haunting to see. I'm going to show you guys this picture in a second, as soon as I get through the chat. Rise So High, that's a pretty clever name. Kitty and Kid Frankie 7, greetings my friends, thank you for joining us, and definitely glad to have you guys here. Man, yeah, that story kind of took a little bit out of me. It's really really sad to think about someone dealing with that, the trauma of having that happen to them. So check out this creature. This is not a creature you want to see attacking you, let alone one attacking someone in your family. This looks like I'm not sure if this creature is dead, and it looks like it's just propped up. Its eyes look a little sunken in, and its face just kind of looks like it's been maybe dead for a while. But it looks a little stiff. But it looks like they just propped it up on a box. And if that creature is something that walks around and bipedally on 2 feet, and is human enough to know that it wants to attack and assault people, especially women, that's a very haunting thing. This could be fake. It doesn't look fake to me. It looks like it's an actual dead ape. It's propped up on its neck with a stick, but that's and I've seen that somewhere before. I can't think of where I saw it, but it's really, really disturbing to see. So I'm gonna take that off of there. So yeah, it's intense. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Whether you're here live right now or whether you're watching the edited version of this, and by the way, Logan, I'm going to need a code word pretty soon here. Whether you're here now live or you're watching the trimmed down edited version of this video, thank you so much for stopping by, for spending some time. Had a great time tonight. There was a lot of people, a lot of really great YouTubers came through. We had Being Scared, we had Slumber Reads, we had Mr. Davis, Mr. Black's AA, and we had a Penny Dreadful moment, aka Nix, and I feel like I might be missing someone else. We had a lot of super chats, a lot of very generous donations. Thank you guys so much. Clarissa, Mr. Black's AA, Jessica D, Tariko, and Sadness. Thank you guys so much for coming out of your pockets and helping me support my channel. Very kind of you. Very much appreciated, my friends. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, share with your friends. Keep an eye on what I've been doing. I've been making a lot of moves lately behind the scenes, and you guys will be seeing some of the products of that very soon. And let's see if we could come up with a code word. Code word, best format. I agree. I love this format. It's so much less work for me. You have no idea. You guys are definitely awesome. Okay, who's got a code word? Who's got a code word? Oh yeah, Swamp Dweller came through. Thank you very much, Jessica, for reminding me. I knew I was missing one person. Swamp Dweller. Make sure you check out all their channels when you're done with this video, and go show them some love. Show them that I sent you. Yeah, show them some love. Show them that mr.xdreams sent you, and that you're a dreamer. And when you go out into the world, make sure you represent the dreamers the way I instructed. Being kind, doing the best you can, helping people, de-escalating problems, finding solutions, innovating when you can. And if you're listening at this point in the video, I want you to type in the word rain. I like that one. That one goes out to Chellybean85, was the first person I think that mentioned that. That's pretty good. Rain is a good one. So, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, type in the word rain. The code word for today is rain. So leave that in a comment down below so I can see you. Have a great night, my friends. Enjoy the rest of your week, your weekend, your day, your night, whatever it is, wherever you're at. And remember to represent the dreamers out there. And also, if you're interested, pick up some dreamer gear, a shirt, leggings, stickers I just added recently, mugs. And if you do get anything from the store, make sure you send me a picture so you can be in the slideshow later on. All right, so hey, love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. And as always, good night, my friends, and may your nights be full of dreams. Take care.